So you got to see my fancy dance move there just then. I'm pretty excited about that. Speaking of which, anybody here have danced in their daily life? You move around in your daily life. I think yours kind of counts, yeah. So why not? You don't dance in the shower in the morning or anything? No, okay. Well, I know somebody that does. And you're going to hear from around in the shower. I cannot vouch, I cannot confirm or deny that she dances in the shower. However, I can say that we have a really, really excellent opportunity to hear about something good that's going on in Madisonville, and I'm going to bring up Natalia right now to tell you all about what she does at the Stellar Dance Center.
I'm Natalia Gordon. I opened Stellar Dance Center in January. Really excited about it. It's been my dream since I was a teenager. I'm going to start by saying that I was not the best student growing up as far as excelling in talent. My mom enrolled me in gymnastics when I was younger, and at our first gymnastics meet, she wasn't sure what to expect. She was like, they're 7, and maybe they just look a little rough because they're 7, but apparently we were the most embarrassing gym studio there. We forgot our routines, our legs weren't straight, our toes weren't pointed. It just looked like we were one of the least polished studios there out of everyone. And she said from that point on, she was not going to let me embarrass myself or the studio from that point on. She started staying after my lessons and making me do my routines 3 times perfectly before I could go home, making sure my legs were straight and my toes were pointed. And it really paid off because I think my coach at the time had too many irons in the fire. She was coaching gymnastics, she was also teaching ballet, baton lessons. She had all these things going on, and she didn't really have time to individualize our instruction. So my mom was a big factor in making me a better gymnast. And we also had to take dance lessons growing up to be a better gymnast as well. But I started to get burned out on gymnastics, and I wanted to try cheerleading when I started in middle school, so tumbling really helped with that, helped me make the team. And then after that was when dance started getting popular in school teams. When I tried out for Central's dance team my freshman year, I had a couple friends there already. It was probably only their 3rd year having a team at that time. So once I made the team, I really started to fall in love with dance. I used to choreograph routines for our school, and it just really blossomed from there. I just couldn't get enough. I would be in class, instead of paying attention, I'd be doing my dance routines in my head and doing this at my desk, or if I'm driving and a song comes on, I would be doing my routines or making something up as I go. So it's really been a passion of mine since a very young age. When I hear music, I start seeing things. I don't know if that makes sense, but you start seeing movement with the body when a song comes on that speaks to you. So it's really been a dream to be able to go to work every day and to listen to music and to be able to move and to also teach everyone else how to do that too and to share that love of dance. So after I graduated high school, I tried out for the UK Wildcat Dancers and made the team. That was really exciting. It was one of my dreams as well. I was a dance instructor for Eastern Cheer and Dance Association. We traveled the East Coast every summer teaching camps across the East Coast. It was really fun. I was able to be on head instructor staff, choreography staff. I was invited to the Capital One Pro Bowl halftime show and the Pro Bowl in Hawaii. That was really nice. So a lot of opportunities came from that company. And then after I graduated college with a Bachelor of Arts in Education, I planned to be an English teacher, mostly because I knew I was a teacher, but I didn't think opening a studio was that practical. We didn't have a ton of money growing up. We were never, so far off we couldn't get by, but I just didn't want to put that stress on my family, opening the studio. Potentially, you don't know if it's going to work or not. So I stuck with graduating with my English degree, but a series of events happened. I never got a job with my teaching degree, and ended up being a substitute teacher and waitress and a dance coach at North, and those 3 jobs kind of have been my life for after graduating college. Waitressing, substitute teaching in the school system. Some way I was trying to worm my way into being a teacher. It just didn't work out. But when I got the job at the Hopkins County Clerk's office, I was just like, this is going to be fine for me. It's good hours, paid holidays on things like that. But you get to a point where it is an unfulfilling setting. It's hard. I don't know if you've ever been in a position where you go to a job every day where you just don't feel like you are feeling fulfilled and you can contribute to the world. I just felt like my place was not at the Hopkins County Clerk's office as much as I loved my coworkers. It just did not. It wasn't something I could see myself doing every day for the rest of my life until retirement. And I had a meltdown one day after work. I really did. And my poor husband came home to me, who never cries. I do not cry. I'm not a crier. It has to be pretty bad for me to cry. And just laid out crying for the afternoon. And he was like, you don't have to do this forever. And he knew that I wanted to open a studio, and he was like, do what you need to do to get this rolling. So I had enrolled once already at Knoxville Community College in the business program, where I had come across Kim Simons, who is the best teacher I've ever had. At UK, you're just a number. I never had a teacher care. And Miss Simons really opened my eyes that I could do it.
You never cried.
I never cried. But I had taken classes, and she was just like, are you serious about this? This is a good business plan. And I was like, yes, I am. But I had stopped taking classes when I went to the clerk's office, and then when I had my meltdown, I decided to get back into it, and I took every class I could with Miss Simons, and she helped me to attack every assignment like I was opening a business, which I was wanting to do. So every assignment we had, it was going towards my Dream Studio folder on my computer. So I had documents ready to go, so that when I opened the studio, it was ready. I started doing an employee handbook, registration forms, parent, student handbooks, trying to get everything ready so that when I opened, it was less work. So that was really helpful. A lot of the assignments in class, the class discussions were directed towards helping me, and I thought that was the most beneficial experience I could have asked for. So if you know anyone that's interested in business, Kim Simons is your go-to. She really was the most helpful person and encouraging me that I could do it. So I really appreciate her for that. I had started also a timeline in these classes. My projection open date was August the 15th. So I was really trying to, this month I'm going to have this done, this month I'm going to have this done. And something happened to where my timeline kind of got scratched. I dropped down to part-time hours at the clerk's office to start teaching lessons out of my home to get a clientele base. And I was told that my job might not be there after Christmas. So I was like, oh, okay, no job after Christmas kind of stinks. So that was told to me 2 weeks before Christmas. So I told myself, okay, you've got a month to figure out if you're gonna do this or not. So I pretty much opened in a month's time. I had everything as close as I could to getting ready by mid-January, and I had my first week of lessons February of 15. So everything that I had planned on getting finished by July of 15 was bumped up quite a bit. So I really had to prioritize what do I have to have done to be operable in February. My husband was supportive enough and nice enough that we used a lot of credit on our house for all the startup costs. So that was easier, I thought, and quicker than maybe some of the other routes I could have taken. So luckily, it wasn't so much that it would put us out too much. We did have to get our roof completely done, so that did hamper using the line of credit on our house, and I had to pay back more of it than I had planned over the summer. But overall, I couldn't ask for a more supportive family. Hillary, I love Hillary. Hillary Lovebridge Yoga. She and I share the studio space, and also use Hillary a lot in saying that she is also an inspiration for me because her yoga classes really helped me get self-confidence as well to open the studio. We can be really self-critical on ourselves, and she really helped me see that I am enough and that I am okay. As far as what makes Stellar, Stellar, and how I came upon that name, when I was a senior in college, I started my dream studio file, and I was just brainstorming names. Things that had to do with dance, things that had to do with the All-Star. I don't know if you're familiar with All-Star Dance or All-Star Cheer, but a lot of the names have to do with the universe, dance world, dance planet, planet dance, things like that. And I didn't want it to sound too generic, but at the same time, I wanted it to be unique and memorable as well. So I was down to a couple of names. My mom's pretty crafty. I was like, Mom, can you come up with a logo for me? And maybe if I see it on paper, it'll shout to me which name I should go with. So my mom fixed up a little logo for me, and when I saw that one or the other one, I chose Stellar because I was like, I think that's really how I want to go. Right now, we offer ballet, hip hop, jazz, acro. There's a variety of classes that I offer at the recreational level. In the future, I hope to add all-star competitive dance in about 1 to 2 years once my enrollment levels off and I can see consistent enrollment each year or each semester. In about 10 to 12 years, I would hope to expand to maybe incorporate all-star cheer. Cheer was a part of my background growing up, and I still really enjoy it. So if I could find someone else who had as much passion as I do about dance, I would love to maybe build a facility and have an all-star cheer facility as well. My values for Stellar, I want it to be quality and affordable. If you remember my story at the beginning, we were not the best studio in gymnastics growing up. We were not quality, but it was affordable more so than some other places, so that's why we chose to go there. It was affordable. So for me, it was important to give the opportunity to someone who, to make it more affordable, but also that you don't go and embarrass yourself at a competition when you're younger. You know, I want my students to feel confident and feel good about what they're learning. It's very important for me to teach them discipline I grew up in a very, I wouldn't say strict household, but very much mind your manners, respect your adults. There was no talking while adults were talking, things like that. And it's important for me to teach students, maybe not as rigid as I was taught, but to have that respect in the classroom, to make sure they're paying attention and to follow instructions and to follow rules. I think that's very important. And then to also build confidence. We have, I want them to feel good about what they're learning. We do have a section in our hip hop class where we have a dance circle where they have to go to the middle of the circle and dance however they want to. And you can really see how some are not confident enough to go out and dance by themselves, but hopefully after a few classes their confidence will build. And the last thing that's most important to me is having a judge-free zone. This is really important to me because I feel like there's so much bullying going on in the world, there's so much negativity going on in the world, that when you come to dance, that's all that matters. Just dance class. I don't care what your background is, I don't care what color you are, your religion, none of that matters to me. When you come to dance, that's all that matters, is that you have an open heart and you want to learn as much about dance as possible. And there's no critiquing of other students. For example, yesterday in class, I had a student that started commenting on another student's abilities, and I shut it down. There's none of that. So it's very important for me for kids to feel good about themselves in dance and not worry about somebody's looking at them or judging them and their abilities. I try to make that clear. On the website, I have the handbook that I mentioned earlier. I have a list of, it's pretty detailed, and no one probably reads it, but I like having it there as backup anyway. There's a liability and parent waiver that they sign that says, I've read all these rules and I understand what the expectations are for Stellar. So it's very important for me that everyone knows how they're to conduct themselves at this studio. Let's see here. And for, let's see, the most helpful things that I've come across when opening the studio is free stuff. Free websites. I was able to learn a lot about these things while I was taking class with Kim Simons. Let's see, MailChimp is a really great service for mass email and making them look really nice. My husband was really helpful on finding a couple of things for me, FreshBooks to keep track of my expenses, Wix.com to come up with a website. It was really helpful. You still have to pay for your domain, but it was really affordable and helped get things started with that. Social media has been a big help. I've hired a couple of teenage helpers, and they really do well with the social media, whereas I'm not a social media person. It's a chore for me to get on Facebook or anything like that. So part of their duties every day are to make posts on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these things that I'm just like, I could care less about, but I know it's important in getting the word out. And let's see, what else do? I teach a variety of recreational classes right now. I also choreograph. I mostly choreograph for middle schools and the North Hopkins right now. And I've also choreographed a wedding or two for the husband-wife dance. So that's fun. And I do music as well, which is also more geared towards dance teams and cheer teams where you mix their competition music. There are birthday events at the studio. I haven't really had a lot of press about that yet, and hopefully those will get going. A badge for the Girl Scouts this weekend and next weekend. They have a dance badge they have to earn, so we're having dance class coming up in the next couple weeks for that. I'm also teaching a hip hop class at Brighton coming up next week. I'm really excited about that. So the Girl Scouts and the nursing home are kind of my way of giving back right now. Being the first year of business, less than the first year of business, not making a lot of money. So I can't really contribute monetarily that much at this point, but if I can give my time, I think that's good for right now, and maybe I'll reach a point where I can give more. But my other plan also to give back is to do monthly dance events. I know October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I hope to host an event at the studio where we can have a dance class. Like, it's $5 for a dance class, or donate as much as you want, and all those proceeds will go towards that organization. I hope to do that soon. Struggles, money.
Maybe we should stop the questions. These are the questions we'd be asking you, so.
Money.
She's just gonna go on.
Just that.
Hey, tell us about your struggles.
Money.
Okay.
Money. It's hard to make the studio everything that I want it to be at this point. I mean, I would love for it to be this amazing facility with all the dings and whistles, but you just can't. And I've gotten feedback that my building is, I wouldn't say dumpy, but it's not this. It's not this nice building, brand new, with the nice chairs. It is simple, but it's what I know I can afford. And I've gotten advice recently from someone that said, keep your dumpy building, because if you don't, you will go out of business. So that's been a struggle, because the feedback has been, I wish this was nice, I wish this was here, and I wish this was here. So that's been hard to hear, but you have to make that decision. What do? Do I make it nicer and spend more money that I don't have, or keep the more simple things and keep things going? Scheduling has been a struggle at the studio, because some people don't want to sign up for dance classes until they have seen a schedule, but then when I make the schedule, they can't attend the classes that I've scheduled because it doesn't fit their schedule. So it's been really hard to find that balance of how to come up with the schedule so that I can get the most customers possible. Other struggles, unexpected rise and drops in attendance. I've had where I didn't expect the attendance to be so low. For example, this summer I knew it was going to be low attendance with vacations and camps and all that, but I didn't expect it to be as low as it was with my spring enrollment being so high. And then also for fall enrollment, my fall enrollment has been lower than I expected based on my spring enrollment. And then sometimes you'll have 15 people register in 1 week, and you have to, well, my student-teacher ratio is 7-to-1, so how am I going to find an assistant instructor for this class at this time, such last-minute notice? Another struggle is just time away from family and from the home. I also coach the dance team at North, so I'm pretty much gone every day from 1 p.m. till 8:30 or 9 at night. So I don't get to see my husband that much. And I don't get to see my family as much as I would like. I am letting go dance team after this year. It's kind of a large group of seniors that it's hard to let go of them until they've graduated. So this will be my last year coaching at North. And that will free up a lot of my time. Another struggle is just not knowing how to start the business at first. With it being such a last-minute opening, I'd attended the classes. I knew how I was supposed to manage based on my classes, but there's not really a step-by-step, this is what you have to do. And I did find some websites, the small business website It's so overwhelming though. There's so much information, you don't know where to start. So it was just a matter of calling around, calling the city, seeing what I needed to do. Let's see. Another struggle. The struggle whether to stay or leave the location based on some of the feedback. And also just, I have an internal struggle. I don't have children, but you know, you have this idea of how you would raise your children. And being in a studio, you have a ton of kids coming and going all the time. So my struggle has been, these are not my children. I cannot.
Can't beat them.
I can't beat them.
I know you want to.
Get away with it.
Most of the children are so very well behaved, but when you get in the dance setting, they hear the music and they just want to go. They want to dance. So trying to find that balance of being a stern teacher, but not so stern that they don't want to come to class. Finding that balance has been a struggle for me because I'm used to working with high schoolers where it's a dance team, it's very disciplined, they compete, they have to be very disciplined to do well, and I can yell at them and make them do extra laps and make them do extra push-ups if they're not giving it their full effort, but you can't do that at a dance studio. So finding that balance of this is a recreational setting, this is not competitive, this is just for fun. So for me to pull back and be like, you have to just let it go. But it's been very enjoyable. It's nice coming home from work every day feeling good about yourself and instead of crying. So you until you have that freedom and that release of, I like my job, I love my job. It's so nice coming home and not bringing your work with you and not bringing that to take out on your family, your unhappiness taken out on your family. It's just been very nice to be like, that was a great day at work. I've got another great day at work coming tomorrow. So,
let's see if we have any questions. Does anybody have any questions? Great job.
Okay, how many students, and how many students do you currently teach? And age group, I mean, are you sticking mainly with little kids or adults? Or?
I offer classes for anyone 4 years through adults. I will say that I have right now I have about 75 students. When I opened, I had 68 register the first week, which was way more than I expected. I had done some projections beforehand that I need this many students in order for me to leave the clerk's office, because they did come back and say that my job wasn't lost. So I was just, this is what I need to get by, and then once I reached that, I left. And then by mid-spring, I had over 100. But right now, that has kind of leveled off again about the 75 range. So I'm expecting in another month that I'll have probably 10 more register. But they come and go. Kids will start a class and realize they don't like it, and then they'll leave. So that's been difficult getting used to.
Do you have any competition?
I know the YMCA has a studio that comes in from out of town, but I don't know that there is another, I'm not aware of there being another dance studio, strictly dance studio, operating in Hopkins County right now on a daily basis. I know that some of the gymnastics facilities have an all-star dance team and have some dance classes, but that's not their main focus.
I guess where my question here, or my point was, where I was going, you made a comment early on about the embarrassing situation because they were the lowest price. And I know when we started our business, not related at all, by the way, but we knew what our background was, and I'm picking that up from you. You know what you do, and you know that you do it well. So when we came to town, we opened up early on. I mean, first day, we were the highest priced company in our town that did what we did. And I intended to be the highest price. We also were probably the lowest activity because, you know, they weren't used to our pricing structure. So consequently, we didn't do a lot of work, but what we did, we got paid for. Now that you build on that, because don't get into a situation where you're trying to compete with somebody that is the lower quality on price.
Well, I have researched the prices of similar things in town, the gymnastics studios, the karate studios. I had found out how much they were charging, so I was trying to price just a little bit under that. And like I said, I was trying to do the projections. I need this many to enroll at this price to get by. And I have raised prices $5 per student this semester because it was too low. It was, I was barely breaking even and giving myself very modest salary each month. And I'm still giving myself that same salary, but knowing that I'll probably be able to save more money to build towards the future is helpful. But I did research how much is this gym charging their students. So, and just asking other customers, like, well, when you were going to this studio, how did you feel about the prices? And a lot of people were, it's too high, too much money. And I was trying to give a price that wasn't devaluing myself so much that people are like, why are they charging such a low price? But at the same time, I didn't want to be up here where I was being the first time opening to turn people away because it's too expensive.
But people will pay for quality. And
They will,
what
but
they pay for.
with me being new, I wasn't sure how they would take me.
Yeah.
So.
Don't underprice yourself.
Okay.
I have a question. So, how long are your sessions?
They vary. Depending on the age, the 6 to 8 year old range is a 45-minute class. There are some classes that are the 4 to 5 year old class that are an hour. We keep it going though, so that their attention holds for an hour.
And so when you sign up, it's for what, 8-week period, 10, 12?
It's paid, you pay per month. There is a registration fee, and then you pay 1 month at that time, and you pay the first of every month. So you have a 4-week commitment pretty much.
Like once a week?
Once a week.
What about, you pay the registration fee and then there's a monthly fee? Do you have any kind of policy where they show up for one class and they don't like it? Do they get a partial refund, or did you
They
sign
get
up
to
for-
attend the first class without collecting any fee. So if you say, well, I don't know if I'll like it, they get to come to the first class without paying anything. But then the next week, if they like it, then the next week those fees would be due. So you wouldn't be out that money if they didn't like it. But once you do pay it, you have to follow through with that 4-week commitment. But if you decide to leave and then come back, if that registration fee is still within the 1-year period, you have to pay the yearly registration fee, then you wouldn't have to pay it again if you left for a couple months and then come back.
Have you started doing any kind of marketing to the schools?
I tried those flyers that I made out. I tried going to the schools because someone suggested me to do that. And a couple of the schools that I went to wouldn't let me pass them out because they said they don't do that.
I see. Where I wondered about that. Where are there other places where there are kids?
But I'm also really
Churches?
I'm also really bad about, I don't want to step on anyone's toes or break the rules. I'm really weird about that. I'm like, someone has suggested.
You're an entrepreneur, you have to break the
I
rules.
know, it's really,
Wow.
that's been another struggle. It's been another
That's what we
struggle for
do.
me. But someone suggested me pass them out at the mall, on the cars, and then I did ask about that, and they were like, no, we don't really like that. So I have a bunch of flyers because someone did tell me I could pass them out at the schools, but of course me, I didn't call, I just took their word for it. test out.
Another question, what's your youngest age that you take?
I will take a mature 3.5-year-old if they are able to be in class by themselves and can go to the potty and all that good
You're not gonna
stuff.
There are limits.
But the classes are closed to spectators except for certain days of the month, so they have to be able to attend class without a parent being in there. They have to make it through the class without. Well, the parents can stay on premises. There's a waiting area, but they are not in the classroom.
So you don't have a two-way mirror?
No, this is my building we are talking about. So when I have a nice new building, and someone did suggest to me like putting a camera in there, which I know there are studios that do the camera and have a TV in another room. I would love to do that, but it is a financial struggle right now. And the two-way mirror is also another good idea. I've seen where studios have a window and blinds, and they lift the blinds on the last class so the parents can, or the last class of the month, and the parents can see in. All are good options. It's just not what I can do right now, but I hope to eventually.
If you consider doing any type of, my husband would die if you knew I asked this question, but adult couples, like ballroom dancing or anything?
I will say that there are a variety of dance styles out there, and I have been asked, and actually this summer I offered a ballroom workshop taught by someone else because I have no ballroom experience. I would not feel comfortable having people pay me money to teach them styles that I've never done before.
So you're saying you don't want to step on anybody's toes?
But I had a friend that I danced with. At UK who, when she graduated, and she went to Miami and started taking lessons, ballroom lessons, and she became an instructor, and she was teaching ballroom for about 7 years. She came back to Lexington, and I contacted her. I was just like, hey, how about you do a workshop this summer? And I had a lot of adults say they were interested, but nobody ever signed up. So I was like, well, Hillary signed up. Hillary signed up. But I had tons of people asking about it, but I was like, I can't pay her to come teach if I don't have any money to pay her with.
Right.
So I had to cancel the event.
Yeah, thank you.
Natalia, have you thought at all about a referral program to say to
I hadn't thought about it.
the parents? How are you looking to structure that?
I had thought about offering a referral program, like if you, on the registration form, there is a section that says, how did you find out about us? Facebook, referral, website. And there is a space that, on that registration form, that if you write in the name of the person who referred you, that I'll give that person $10 off their registration, or their tuition the next month. I haven't gotten there yet. So I'm trying to weigh that, but I think it is an option for the near future for sure.
I don't think you mentioned your location, and also I'm interested in roughly your median age. You talked about an age range, but what's kind of your median age?
I will say that I have the 3.5 to 5-year-old range is my largest group. It's a creative movement class where it's kind of a combination of all dance styles and sing and dance games and just things that involve motor skills, but it's not so structured. We keep it moving for that age. That's probably my most popular. I have to offer 2 classes for that. There's so many enrolled. In the spring, I had to offer a 3rd one. So there are probably at this point about 25-year-olds. And then there is a gap. There's I have a few 6 and 7-year-olds, and then the next is 8, 9 range, 8, 9, 10 teenagers. I have a couple of teenagers and a couple of adults, but I still want to push that. I want adults and teenagers to have a space on the schedule if they want it. But I would say 10 and under is definitely the largest.
I know you probably haven't thought of this, because no one ever thinks of it, but the Veterans Parade. Have you
Yes.
thought about having a,
Someone had mentioned that
and I'll
to
get the
me.
date to you, last time I checked, because I'm doing it for somebody else, but they still hadn't,
Yes.
told me what the date was, unless someone here knows what date it is. It's usually around Halloween.
Yes.
But that would be great if you got
I
a
think that would
group
be-
to,
to
march in the parade, and then you could dance.
Dance.
People
I
dance
actually
fireworks,
sent
right.
an email for the Heroes Run to have a group. I mean, we weren't going to perform, but having a group cheer at the Heroes Run. But nobody has come back with me with that. But yes, I would like to do more events. And I just thought you said my location. Location is 254 East Center Street. Do you know where the old Foxy's restaurant was?
It's in the old
Kinda
Fowler.
diagonal from
I know where you are. I
It's
just.
the old Fowler building.
Yeah.
Fowler Building.
Yep.
I don't know where, I didn't know the
Yep.
Fowler Building, but that's where it is.
Yep.
The Veterans Parade is November 8th.
November 8th. I knew it was early
Thank you.
November.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Coming at Western.
But yes, I would like to do some events in town for sure. Have the kids a chance to perform, because there's not a lot of places for them to perform as a recreational student for sure.
Oh, another suggestion, if you want gallery hop this year, it's going to be November 7th. That's downtown. It's the same day as the holiday open house for the downtown merchants. If you contact the Chamber or Tourism, then I'm sure they'd love to have some, ad hoc performances outside in front of the courthouse or things like
That's
that.
another thing I would like to get involved with is the chamber. I haven't made that step yet because of money, pretty much. It's a chunk of change.
It's worth it though.
It is.
You can find out about a lot more things going on and get plugged in, and then you can distribute your flyers.
Mhm.
Kidapalooza is
Yes.
another thing that if you haven't previously been involved with, I would think, given your age range that you really market to, would be unnatural. I'm trying to remember what month that is.
It's in October.
Is it October
I
also?
hadn't heard of
Okay.
Kidapalooza. I guess with me not having children, that
Yeah.
I am kind of separated from the
Mhm.
events that are targeted towards that age, and I did just find out about that. Someone mentioned it to me last week, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
That would be a natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Are there any more questions? No? You did a great job. We're so glad you're here. Let's see, next week we've got Dr. Sagerbar with us. That's right. If anybody knows any entrepreneurs that are, that would like to present, or you think that they would do a good job with this, we're hoping maybe you'll get to do that for some time. And we've got Eric Waller, Tom Evelyn, Carol, Kevin, Mark, myself, and Ruth Ann, that you can contact any of us, and we'll be glad to help you with that. We're so happy that you all are here today. Thanks again, Natalia. We appreciate it. You did a great job.
Indeed.
We'll see you all next week.